Exploring Michigan, Great Lakes State by Colleen and Michael Glenn Monroe. And it's an autographed copy. It says, "Happy reading, Monroe, Mr. Monroe." So you can see, from space, the state of Michigan is one of the most recognizable places on the surface of the Earth. Astronauts flying hundreds of miles above the Earth often send back pictures of the famous mitten shape of Michigan. No other state is as easily identified. Did you know? Not every state is lucky enough to have a state fossil in Michigan. The state fossil is a mastodon. Weighing almost 5 tons, this massive beast roamed the Michigan landscape as recently as 10,000 years ago. Over 250 mastodon fossils have been found, including one of the most complete skeletons ever uncovered. The longest set of mastodon footprints known to exist was found near Ann Arbor. Question: can you guess the state mammal of Michigan? Hint: it can jump as high as 10 feet in the air. Answer: a white-tailed deer. Found in nearly every county, it is known for its bushy white underside of its tail that it raises when it runs. White-tailed deer can reach speeds of almost 40 miles per hour and have been seen leaping fences almost 10 feet high or tall. The males, called bucks, grow antlers that fall off in the winter only to grow back again in the spring. Michigan's first inhabitants were Algonquin Indians. The third largest American Indian tribes were the Potawatomi, the Ojibwa, and the Ottawa, and were known as the Three Fires. In 1622, French explorers Brulé and Grenoble came to Michigan in hopes of discovering a northwest passage to the Orient. Did you know Michigan is the only state bordered by the 5 Great Lakes, or by 4 of the 5 Great Lakes, and has over 3,000 miles of shoreline? Question: can you guess the name of the largest sand dune in Michigan? I think I know what it is, but do you know what it is? I was right. Answer: the Sleeping Bear Sand Dune, located along the Michigan shoreline, raises about almost 500 feet above sea level. They are the largest freshwater sand dunes in the world. Did you know Sleeping Bear Dunes National Lakeshore was named the most beautiful place in America on ABC's Good Morning America? I did not know. The Michigan shoreline is home to over 115 lighthouses, more than any other state. Some are still used today to help guide ships to safety in times of bad weather. The lighthouse at Whitefish Point in the Upper Peninsula is the oldest operating lighthouse on Lake Superior. It was built during Abraham Lincoln's presidency. It is located at the end of a treacherous 80-mile stretch of coastline known as Lake Superior's Shipwreck Coast. Question: can you guess Michigan's most famous shipwreck? Hint: it sank near Whitefish Point. I think I know it. Let's see if I'm right. I'm right. The Edmund Fitzgerald. Although there have been many shipwrecks in the Great Lakes of Michigan, the most famous is the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. At her launch in 1958, the Edmund Fitzgerald was the largest ship on the Great Lakes. Carrying a full cargo of iron ore pellets, she embarked on her final journey on November 9th, 1975, heading from Wisconsin to Detroit, Michigan. In a sudden and violent November storm, the Edmund Fitzgerald went down without ever issuing a distress call. All 29 crew members were lost. The story was immortalized in the song The Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald by Gordy Lightfoot. Swimming in the cool, clear waters of Michigan is the state fish, the brook trout. Their sleek bodies vary in color. In the spring, the male sides turn a bright red-orange. Brook trout living in streams can grow to be 9 inches long, while brook trouts living in the Great Lakes can grow as large as 2 feet and weigh up to 10 pounds. Question: can you guess Michigan's state reptile? Hint: it lives in a shell. I think it's some sort of turtle. What do you think? It is. The painted turtle. The painted turtle is one of the 9 species of the turtle native to Michigan, the most common of all turtles. The painted turtle is identified by the red markings along the edge of its shell, yellow stripes on its head, and yellow or red stripes on its limbs. The Motor City is the perfect nickname for Detroit. Michigan's natural resources, successful wagon and carriage making industry, and being home to some Motor City is a perfect nickname for Detroit. Michigan's natural resources, successful wagon and carriage making industries, and being home to some of the most innovative and creative minds in the world made it the perfect place for the automobile industry to thrive. Visionaries such as Henry Ford, Ransom E. Olds, William Carpodurant, and Walter Chrysler succeeded in running the companies that were supplying 75% of the nation's automobiles by the end of the 1920s. Question: can you guess the name of the first car invented by Henry Ford? Hint: it had bicycle tires for wheels. Bicycle tires for wheels. The quadricycle. That one I did not know. Henry Ford was an automotive pioneer with his work on the gas-powered engine. On June 4th of 1896, he unveiled his first car, the quadricycle. Built in his garage on Bagley Street in Detroit, it ran at a top speed of 20 miles per hour. To get his invention out of the garage, he had to knock down a wall because it wouldn't fit through the door. Ford used 4 bicycle tires for wheels, which is how the quadricycle got its name. It had no brakes, no reverse gear, and now resides in the Henry Ford Museum. State symbols. The apple blossom was chosen in 1897 to be the state flower. Michigan ranks 3rd in the nation in apple growing. The largest Michigan apple ever recorded in weight was 3 pounds and 2 ounces. That's a big apple. The dwarf lake iris was voted the state's wildflower in 1998. The flower grows only in the Great Lake region, particularly on the northern shores of Lake Michigan and Lake Huron. I've seen that. It's beautiful. I love it. The Isle Royal Greenstone was designated the official state gem in 1973. It was found primarily on islands of Isle Royal. Since 2000, it has been prohibited to collect this small, rounded, bean-sized pebble. So you're not allowed to collect it because it was going, they couldn't find it anymore. Question: what is the state stone of Michigan? I know what it is. Here's a hint. It has many small 6-sided patterns. So it has many hexagons on it. Yep, the Petoskey Stone. 350 million years ago, Michigan was covered by water. The shallow sea was teeming with coral. When the plants of Earth moved and pushed Michigan above sea level, or when the plates of Earth moved and pushed Michigan above sea level, these coral deposits remained. They were transported all over the state with the glacier movements. the highest concentration being in the northwestern Lower Peninsula. The Petoskey stone was named after the area where it is highest concentration of stones. Petoskey means ray of rising sun and was named after the Ottawa Indian chief. Michigan made it their state stone in 1965. Over 15,000 black bears roam the woods in Michigan. Most live in the Upper Peninsula. But there has been sightings as far as Saginaw. Measuring 5 feet tall, standing upright, an adult male black bear can weigh over 500 pounds. Black bears enter their den to hibernate in late December and stay there until winter ends. Question. Michigan is home to another large animal. Can you guess its name? There's several large animals. Hint. It stands over 6 feet tall at the shoulder. I know what it is now. The moose. The Upper Peninsula of Michigan is home to over 400 moose. They disappeared in the Lower Peninsula in the 1890s, mostly due to the extensive logging of their habitat logging that destroyed their habitat. Moose can stand almost 10 feet tall and weigh up to 1,500 pounds. Newberry is the official moose capital of Michigan because its ponds and swamps are perfect for the habitat of the elusive moose. I have always wanted to see a moose. I've never seen one. Excuse me, sorry. On October 15th of 1966, Pictured Rocks and its 73,000 acres of Lake Superior shoreline became the first national shoreline. Minerals gave the rocks their different colors. The green color is copper, and the white is luminite. Black is magnesium, and the red and orange colors come from the presence of iron. Because of erosion, the cliff's shapes change continually. Did you know there are over 11,000 lakes and 324 waterfalls in Michigan? Take your time to go and see all of that. Lots of time. Our question. Can you guess the name of Michigan's largest waterfall? Hint. It has 2 falls and is located in the Upper Peninsula. I've been there several times. You've probably been there too. You just don't realize it. Answer. The Dequamanon Falls. Located on the eastern end of the Upper Peninsula, Dequamanon Falls is the largest waterfall in Michigan and the second largest east of the Mississippi, reaching a height of 50 feet high and over 200 feet wide. It is actually made up of 2 waterfalls, the Upper Falls and the Lower Falls. It is often called root beer falls because the water's brownish color, a result of the naturally occurring tannic acid from decaying cedar trees upstream. Dedicated in 1928, the Henry Ford is the largest indoor-outdoor museum to showcase America's industrialism. Ooh, there we go. The museum is designated to look like the Independence Hall in Philadelphia. The museum houses such treasures as the chair President Abraham Lincoln was sitting in when he was assassinated, along with a camp bed that President George Washington slept on. Henry Ford also collected everyday artifacts as toasters and cars to show the history of inventions in America. In Greenfield Village, there are 80 historical buildings, including Thomas Edison's famous laboratory and the Wright brothers' bicycle shop. You can even tour the village of vintage Model Ts. Our question. Can you guess what famous invention was created by Thomas Edison, who once lived in Michigan? Our hint. Every home in America has at least one. I think I know what it is. Aha! The light bulb. Thomas Edison holds the most patents of any inventor, over 1,000. A patent is something to you invent it and you patent it so that no one else can say they invented it. In one of the most important inventions, he improved on the idea of light bulbs by using a carbonized filament and a lower electrical current to make it longer lasting. His light bulb was part of an entire electrical system, and which allowed each home to have a reliable, safe, and economical source of light. In December of 1879, he unveiled his electrical system by lighting his Menlo Park laboratory. Henry Ford had the entire laboratory moved to Greenfield Village, and it remains exactly how it was when Thomas Edison used it. Famous people and products from Michigan. To name a few: Jiffy, Kellogg, Berners, Faygo, Ford Motor Company, Sanders Chocolate, Motown Records, J.L. Hudson, Stormy Kromer Merchandise, Sidell Baker Car Company, Better Made Snack Food Company, Lazy Boy Furniture, Domino's Pizza, and Little Caesars Pizza, Henry Ford, Gerald Ford, George Armstrong Custard, Kid Rock, Madonna, Kirk Gibson, Clarkton Hester, Tom Selleck, Tim Allen, Gelda Redner, Sonny Bono, Irvin Magic Johnson, Barry Gordy, Stevie Wonder, Charles Lindbergh, Francis Ford Coppola, Bob Seger, Alice Cooper, Della Reese, Ted Nugent, Dave Collier, Jerry Bruckman, Diana Ross, Larry Page, Charles Van Allsburg, William Boeing, Jeff Daniels, and Joe Louis. Although he wasn't born in Michigan, Joe Louis spent much of his life there, known as the Brown Bomber during his boxing career. Joe Louis held the world heavyweight boxing title longer than anyone else in history. He gained the admiration of many Americans when he left boxing in 1942 to join the Army during World War II. And your question is, can you tell who is the only U.S. president to grow up in Michigan? And hint, he lived in Grand Rapids. If you guessed Gerald Ord Ford, you are correct. It says Gerald Ord Ford. Growing up in Grand Rapids, Gerald Ford has been the only president that hails from Michigan. He played football at the University of Michigan and received offers after he graduated from the Detroit Lions and the Green Bay Packers. He was an Eagle Scout and served in the U.S. Navy. He represented Michigan for 25 years as a congressman before being elected vice president. He became our 38th president in 1974. Thought to be the best known and best loved bird of all the birds in the state of Michigan, the robin was named the state bird in 1931. Its distinctive breast feathers can vary from red to rusty orange. They often spend their summers in Michigan and winters in the southern states. Question: can you guess what the state tree of Michigan is? Hint, it stays green all year long. The eastern white pine. Known as the tallest tree in the eastern North America, the eastern white pine became Michigan's state tree in 1955. Mature white pines can live over 200 years and grow to be 200 feet or taller. At one time, Michigan led the nation in lumber production, as over 100 million trees were harvested in the Lower Peninsula alone. Michigan is home to two species of wolf, the eastern wolf and the gray wolf. The wolves in Michigan live mainly in the Upper Peninsula. Even though they are called gray wolves, their fur is black, white, gray, tan, and brown. Common prey for wolves are the white-tailed deer and the moose. Question: wolves can also be found on the island in Lake Superior. Can you guess the name of it? Hint, it is a national park. I know what it is. If you guessed Isle Royale National Park, you're right. It's located 56 miles from the Michigan mainland. Isle Royale is home to a small population of wolf and moose. Bear, coyotes, and snakes have not been seen on this island for years. No cars or bicycles are allowed on the island and 165 miles of trail, and most popular forms of travel are canoeing, kayaking, and hiking. Scientists have been studying the relationship between the wolves and the moose since 1958, making it the longest continuous running wildlife research study. Mackinac Island was designated the nation's second national park in 1857, just 3 years after Yellowstone. Discovered by the French explorer Jean Nicolet in 1634, it was considered a sacred place by the American Indians who lived there. The island is only 3.8 square miles and houses Fort Mackinac at one of its highest points. The fort was temporarily captured by the British during the War of 1812. No motorized vehicles have been allowed on that island since 1898, so transportation around the island is limited to walking, biking, or by a horse-drawn carriage. We're almost done. Question. Michigan is home to the world's largest porch. Do you know where it is? The largest porch. It's the Grand Motel, which is built on Mackinac Island in the late 19th century. The Grand Motel features the world's longest porch. The porch is 660 feet long, and during the summer, thousands of visitors walk around it each day. 5 United States presidents have strolled along the porch, as well as Thomas Edison and Mark Twain. Built in 1715, Fort Mackinac, Michilimackinac, was not originally a military fort, but it was used instead of as a trading post. It was given to the British in 1761 in a treaty. The fort was attacked by American Indians in 1763. Feeling that the fort was not easily defended in that location, the British dismantled it in 1781 and moved it across the ice to Mackinac Island. Visitors in both Fort Mackinac and Fort Michilimackinac can see daily reenactments of colonial fort life, including cannons and musket fire. I have an uncle that actually dresses up and does that. Question. Is there another famous landmark in Michigan built in 1957? Can you guess what it is? Hint. It is 5 miles long, and it can be walked on only one day of the year, and most of you have walked it. And it's the Mackinac Bridge. Often referred to as the Big Mac or the Mighty Mac, the Mackinac Bridge is the longest suspension bridge in the Northern Hemisphere. When measured by total suspension, it is the 3rd largest bridge of its kind in the world. It provides a much-needed connection between the Upper Peninsula and Lower Peninsula. Now that you have learned what an amazing place Michigan is, it's time to start your own Michigan adventure. Get out and explore. Put your feet in one of the Great Lakes, visit a world-class museum or zoo, and take a ferry ride to Mackinac Island. There is so much to do in Michigan. It doesn't matter what season it is. Michigan is the place to be. And then there's a whole list right there that you can pause and read through of places you can visit in Michigan.